What's going on, family? Hey, listen, before we get to today's show, I want to remind you all that my brand new book, Take Your Seat at the Table, is in stores wherever you buy books at. Today, man, it came out here on the 14th of January. And I just wanted to remind you that, listen, the caliber of your financial future will be determined by the decisions you made today. And one of the key decisions you need to make is to take a seat at the head of your table, at the head of your life. Stop giving people the permission to tell you what to do with your life. Remember, ownership equals freedom. When we have ownership of our lives and our decisions, that's when true freedom, financial freedom, relationship freedom, freedom period, really happens. Listen, go to anthonyoneal.com/book, get a copy of this book. And if you buy this book here, I'm going to give you $2,000 worth of bonuses to help you fulfill your assignment and to reach your financial goals this year. Go to anthonyoneal.com/book, and let's get into today's show.
If you can't pay for it 3 times, minimum 2 times cash, you don't need it. I don't want to be in a position to where I'm not practicing what I'm teaching. Oh, that's so good, God. I see the dip, but I don't necessarily feel the dip. Instead of us going out to Louis Vuitton and getting the latest, smallest purse for $1,000, instead of us going to Gucci and spending, this money on this much, listen, I'm not saying we can't enjoy it, but we gotta start with a foundation. Some of us, because we're living paycheck to paycheck, are not even investing into a 401k. You see, if your employer offers a 401k match, I need you to take advantage of that free money. This car, that fancy gadget, that outfit will not matter in 5 years. But watch this, the debt will. What's going on, family? Welcome back to the table. Man, today is going to be another great day, as it is on every Monday and Wednesday when we release a show. I was in class. As you all know, I am back in school, getting my executive MBA at, I believe, one of the greatest HBCUs, Virginia Union University. And while I'm getting my executive MBA, I have a true honor of being a professor teaching consumer economics, AKA I call the class Money Moves. And while I was in there, I was talking to kids around that 20-year-old mark and teaching this class. And man, they just started asking me a lot of questions about what were some of the things that I had wished I applied earlier during their time. And when I was asked that question, man, I just started listing them. And you would have been amazed to see how many students were sitting down and writing notes. Okay, don't make this mistake. Okay, don't do this. And it literally hit me. If I could have had someone tell me in the classroom, right, to avoid these mistakes, these costly mistakes, I would have been able to build wealth faster. And I am extremely excited about where I am in this season because I'm actually able to help young people on an academia level who undergrad avoid these mistakes while also partnering with you all and helping you avoid these mistakes. Because did you know that a recent study came out of bank survey and revealed that 74% of Americans have at least one financial regret within the last year? And let's be honest, many of us have more than one. If I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm learning in 2025 to be more vulnerable with myself in life, and even being more vulnerable with you all, even just in the last year, 2024, I have a few financial mistakes that I regret. I do. But here's the good news. Once we know better, we can do better. You see, many money mistakes come from a lack of knowledge, right? After watching today's show, you're going to be equipped with some key things, not all things, because I can't cover all things within a 35 minute show, right? But you'll be equipped with some of the key money mistakes that I'm teaching my young people that is going to help them avoid money mistakes. And this is going to help you avoid money mistakes. But I want to make sure that I'm clear here. And if I don't cover some of the mistakes that you really want me to talk about, that I've learned over the last 40 something years of life, and 20 of them being the adult life, I want you to drop a comment if you're watching this on YouTube, and drop a comment. Hey, Anthony, can you talk about this money mistake? Hey, I'm seeing this. And one thing I'm really trying to do this year in a respectful and in a loving way is I want to start responding to some of the foolish stuff. Scratch that. I don't want to say they're foolish. Maybe foolish. I don't want to say it's foolish, but some things that I disagree with. Because I see a lot of things on social media that is leading people down the wrong path by social media influencers who really don't know what they're talking about, don't have the education. And that's another reason why I'm back in school, is because I want to make sure that as I am guiding you all, that I'm getting the proper education and I'm coming from the proper perspective. One, I'm coming from the biblical perspective. Two, I'm coming from an academic perspective as far as I've studied, I've been taught, I've tried it. And then three, I'm coming from experience. I'm not just coming from ChatGPT. I'm not just coming from Google. I'm not just coming from watching it on YouTube and I'm regurgitating it. No, I'm getting the education. So today's show is going to be powerful. And I'm really, 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 really excited about it.
All right, family, before we get into the rest of today's show, listen, nearly 75% of you all are not subscribed to the channel. Listen to me again. 75% of you all are not a part of the E3 community. And we are literally just expanding in the areas of abundance, wellness, and freedom. And that is the main focus of this year. So listen, if you're loving some of the content, you may not watch me every single week, but if you could just hit that subscribe button and be a part of this family, there are some extra perks that comes from just subscribing. We're giving out discounts in the AO store. We're having events solely just for the community, and you will get an email with the discount code and the VIP code and all the special things that's going on. So please hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on podcast, and I promise you, it's going to be amazing. When we hit 1 million on YouTube, I'm giving away a luxury quality used vehicle to one of my E3 community members on July 1st of 2025. So listen, hit that subscribe button and let's get back to today's show. God bless.
So let's get into it. I want to talk about what is the very first thing that I think a lot of us skip over, right? And here's the very first thing that I wish somebody would have taught me this when I was 20, heck, when I was 30. Heck, we had my homegirl, Lexi Allen here telling me, Anthony, I didn't understand none of this stuff, right? And this is really the power of compound interest. And I believe a lot of us sleep on compound interest. It's one of the key components of long-term wealth, all right? So I want to talk about this. I want to go here. I'm going to go here first. Anthony, a lot of you all are saying that you cannot really use compound interest. I want to break down what compound interest is and how it actually works. So I want to go down to the beginner stages, teach you compound interest, but then watch this. To get compound interest, we got to have something to get here. Right? So when it comes to compound interest, you see, when you save and or invest money, watch this. I'm in teaching mode today. When you save and you invest margin, you earn interest. Say it one more time. When you invest your margin, you earn interest. You see, over time, that interest from your margin gets added to the original amount. And then you start earning interest on the total. Your original money plus the interest you've already earned. Are you following me? Let me break this down for you an example. Let me give you a good example. A good example. Ed, Alex, Michelle, if we can put this up on the screen some kind of way so they can see this thing. Here. If you invest, let's say $1,000. Anthony, I only can do about $75 a month, which is going to add about right around $1,000 a year. And let's just say you got a 5% annual interest return. After the first year, you'll earn $50. So now You're going to have $1,050 going into 2026. Now, let's say you earn 5% next year and you only can do the same amount of money next year. You're going to earn $52.50. And now that adds onto the $1,050. So over time, your money grows, quickly, easy. And this is what it does. Your money is going up and it's not just going sideways. Make sense? My wealth calculator on my website, anthonyoneal.com, is a great tool to help you with calculating how you're going to build wealth. Because here's the truth. My philosophy is you should be investing at least 15% of your margin inside of your investment portfolio, right? And we're going to go into, which is number 2, taking advantage of retirement accounts and or opening up a brokerage account, right? But before we get into number 2, some of the things that I wish I would have learned is while I was in class on the very first day, teaching my economics class at VUU, and y'all, we're gonna be doing some things about VUU here soon, and specifically HBCUs. Because as I'm diving into HBCUs, man, I'm getting excited about what God is doing specifically at my school, but what God is showing me on an academic level of how our young people really need it. Because I asked my class, I said, what does margin mean? And some of my students, which is understandable because of their age bracket, they're in between 18 and 22, 23, the majority of them, they didn't really understand what margin meant. And I don't think a lot of us understand what margin is. If I have my iPad, I wish we're going to bring my iPad into the studio so I can start writing and stuff on the iPad. But I really wish I could see this. If you make $5,000 a month, and let's just say you have $5,100 going out, how much margin do you have? This is how we get the compound interest. If I'm spending if I make $5,000 and I'm spending $5,100, I have a negative $100 margin. But if I have $5,000 coming in, but watch this, I have $3,500 going out. What does this mean? I have $1,500 margin. Now what we do is we take that $1,500 margin and we put that into a retirement account like a 401k. We put that into a brokerage account like Moo, and we invest it. Instead of us spending money, instead of us going out and going to the Beyonce concert, dropping $1,200, instead of us going out to Louis Vuitton and getting the latest, smallest purse for $1,000, instead of us going to Gucci and spending, this money on this much, listen, I'm not saying we can't enjoy it, but we got to start with a foundation. And we got to start creating margin within our income so that way we can invest it and get compound interest. And this is something that I wish someone would have taught me when I was younger. Yo, listen. Oh my gosh. I'm in teaching mode right now because I'm teaching. I actually got teaching class this afternoon. I told my kids this. I said, hey, where do you want to go teach? One of them said she wants to be a teacher. I said, cool, great. Where do you want to be a teacher at? She said, I'm going to be a teacher over here. I said, cool, great. Where do you want to go? I'm going to go to California. I said, well, California, just starting off, you're not going to make a whole lot of money. I said, listen, your job when it comes to school, I want you thinking about what state, what career is going to give you the most margin to start. So it's not just about how much money you make, but it's about how much margin can you have so that you can invest, so that you can be comfortable within life. And I wish somebody would have told me, Anthony, you got to create margin so you can start investing and you can take the power of compound interest. And we use the power of compound interest by doing number 2, taking advantage of a retirement account and or opening a brokerage account. And the key thing for us is this, you guys. This year in 2025, you're going to have to say no to yourself. Some of you are only investing 1% inside of your 401k. Some of us, because we're living paycheck to paycheck, are not even investing into a 401k. You see, if your employer offers a 401k match, I need you to take advantage of that free money. Don't let them have a Roth 401k match. What you're skipping out on if you're not doing that is you're skipping out on one, the match. Prime example, basic math here. If you're putting in $100, they're going to put in $100 with you. If you're putting in 2% of your check, some companies offer in between 3 to 5%. My company, we offer 5%. So the first 5% of your annual salary, I'm going to match that. The company's going to match that. Now, once you go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they're not matching 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But that is free money. So if you're putting in 100, they're putting in 100, you're getting 5% per the example we use in number 1. You're getting 5% on $200 rather than 5% on just $100. That's the power of a match. Is that we're going to give you compound interest on top of that. This is why I'm always saying when it comes to a 401k, there's 3 important factors. The very first important factor is there a match? If there's a match, you go for it. Whether it's a traditional and or a Roth 401k. So number 1 is if there's a match, you go. If it's a match traditional, you go. If there's a match Roth, you go. But then number 2, if there's a Roth with no match, you go for it. Because Roth simply means we're going to tax you at your tax level now. And then now all your money that's growing because of the compound interest, when you get older, you do not have to pay any taxes on it when you go to pull it out. Then number 3 is traditional. Traditional is, hey, you're not going to pay any taxes on it right now, but we're going to tax you when it's time for you to take it out. You see, contributing enough to maximize the match is super, super important. If they match up to 5%, invest at least that, because it's literally doubling your money. Now, some of you may be saying, Anthony, I work for a small company, because for a couple of years, my company didn't offer a 401k because we were a small company. And not every single company offers a 401k. Cool. Some companies, if you're working for a nonprofit, is going to offer a 403b. So for me, what I'm going to suggest is if you don't have a 401k or 403b, that's not a problem. I want you to open up a brokerage account and start investing into a good mutual fund, a good Roth IRA, a good index fund. I'm actually going to put a link to my friends over at Moo, who will honestly help you open up a good index fund. But I recently had my boy Courtney on the show, who shared how to invest for beginners. I plan on doing a good webinar with him to teach my audience on how you can start investing at a beginner level. But here's the truth. You can start small, right? The very first place I want you to start is if you have a 401k, I want you to invest up into that match. I don't care if you're drowning in debt right now. If they're giving you 2%, 3%, 4%, hey, I need you to go look at your budget, make some changes, and I need you to take advantage of this match. But let's say, Anthony, I am in a crucial place right now. Listen, I just got out of debt, but I still need to, I still need to do some things. Listen, even if you start small with just $50 a month, it's a step forward. Small investments today can grow big tomorrow. And that's thanks to the power of compound interest. What we have to understand is that the rich, the wealthy, they are not, I'm saying it one more time. They are not getting wealthy because they're making a lot of money. I know people who are school teachers, who are accountants, who are police officers. I even know one Uber driver who has a portfolio of $500,000 up until $2 million, making an average income anywhere between $55,000 to about $90,000. But what is the thing? What is the thing? They're focusing on building more margin. And as they're building margin, as far as in they're keeping their cost of living low, not really low, like to where it's uncomfortable, but they're keeping it below their financial means. Now they're coming up with a strategy on how to utilize that margin. And here's the truth, because I think a lot of us get me confused sometimes. I'm not saying we can't have nice things. Here's what I'm saying though. is to make sure that our nice things are not robbing from our potential future. So if we're going to go out here and do a vacation, but we're not going to invest into our future, we can't get upset at 70 years old and complain about the decisions that we made in the past when you had the knowledge to make the right decisions. And so one of the things I'm teaching you all is that as you're growing margin, as you are investing that margin, do not touch it. Let it go uninterrupted until you get to the age that you are ready to stop working and just enjoy the life God has given you. But what's stopping us from hitting margin? What's stopping us from utilizing our margin? Because believe it or not, a lot of us do have margin, but that margin is allocated somewhere else. What do you mean by that, Anthony? Here's number 3. Our margin is financing things we do not need. I'm going to say it one more time. Our margin is financing things we do not need. It's financing our wants. And there's nothing wrong again with having wants. But why do we have to have wants all at the same time? So number 3 is we got to stop financing things we do not need at this present moment. And this one is going to hurt some of us, but it's true. Financing stuff just to look good and just to blend in with culture, it's not the move. In 2025, it's not the move. We got to avoid the buy now, pay later trips. I'm telling you right now, not trips, but traps. Okay. We got to avoid putting things on the credit card because we can get the points. And this is a nice looking shirt. This is a nice looking pack of weave. This is a nice car. No. Listen. And here's my philosophy when I am honestly doing things. If I can't buy it 3 times, minimum 2 times, I don't need it. I don't need it. Even if you put something on the credit card, even if you are in that top 10% saying, you know what, I'm going to put it on my credit card and pay it off next week so I can get the points. Cool, great. If you're doing that, if you can't pay for it 3 times, minimum 2 times cash, you don't need it. You don't need it. There is a car that I was looking at buying recently. Didn't need it. I have 2 beautiful cars. I did not need it. I wanted it. There was a certain number in my head that I could afford to pay for it 2 times. That's a car. I don't believe you got to do it 3 times, right? And so I said, okay, cool. Here is the budget. I was taking one of my cars that is 100% paid for. I got deed in hand. I took it to them and said, yo, you got to give me X amount for my car. And this is the max I will come out. Because that's the max that I can do to where I'm not, how do I say this? I don't want to be in a position to where I'm not practicing what I'm teaching. So you have to give me this much for the car, and you have to give me your car at this price. They came back, and y'all watch this, not even gonna lie. They were $2,000 short, as far as in $2,000 over. And I said, no, man, that's my budget, because I can't afford, that's actually $4,000 more for me, because I'm thinking 2 times. And for my budget, I can't justify going into my savings account, my emergency fund for that. And I don't want to pull anything extra out of my checking account. I'm not going into any of my investment portfolios. I'm not selling anything at my house. Why? Because I don't need this. I want it, but I don't need it. And so if I can't afford to pay for it twice, then I can't afford it right now. I was like, sir, it's $2,000. We can finance $2,000 for you. I said, no, hear me clearly. I have the other $2,000, but I can't afford to take $2,000 from my future. Can't. Because this is a want. This is not a need. And here's the thing. I'm thinking long term. This car, that fancy gadget, that outfit will not matter in 5 years. But watch this. The debt will. Watch this. The poor financial mistake will. I just can't afford it. I can't afford to be driving around looking good in a car. I can't afford to be, out there in the community, out there in the world. I got the nice watch, I got the nice jewelry, I got the nice clothes on, but I don't have anything set aside and established for my future. I did the Dear Future Wifey podcast with Patrice Whitfield, and I said, man, God convicted me at one point in time, and I'm really learning how to move and adjust in the year 2025. And I said, man, God convicted me, said, where your heart is, so is your treasure. And y'all, I really do desire one day to be a family man. I really do desire one day to leave a legacy for not just my children's children, but even for my nephews and my niece and my loved ones. A lot of you all who have been following me on the ground, man, I have like two adopted daughters who I truly do love. They're my favorite cousins' daughters. And there were some personal things that happened in their lives that I decided to step up. And I said, yo, I want to make sure that those two daughters of my cousin never need for anything. Now, I don't buy all their wants. I don't do that. But any need that they have for school, any need that they have for college, I bought them both their first cars. I've sent them both money to do things that is going to advance their future. Right? So those are adopted daughters of mine. And I want to make sure that if something was to happen to me, that they are taken care of, that my nieces and nephews have something to remember my name, that my family, that my local church has something to remember my name. Heck, within my trust, that if something was to happen to me, my church, my local church gets 25% of everything that I own, including my life insurance check. Because I'm thinking long term. But y'all, I still have the nice jewelry. I still have some of the nice cars. I'm still driving my dream cars. I'm still enjoying life. But I'm also making sure that as I take a seat at the head of my own table, that I'm also thinking about longevity. I'm also thinking about, watch this, raising my children's children well. That, man, I get excited. I get excited that when I have kids, and if I'm blessed to see them when they turn 18, that I'm able to give them a check. And watch this. Woo! The check is going to be because of my initial thought. But let's say, for an example, if I give them $100,000, because I opened up an investment account, 529, and inside of that 529 account, because of the power of compound interest, my $15,000 turned into $100,000. See what I'm going here? See where I'm going? And so now I'm giving my son or my daughter money that it was started because of me, but because of the power of compound interest, I didn't have to invest all that money. And so I've already opened up a 529 for my kids, and I don't even know if I would even have kids. Which leads me on to number 4, and we got 2 more, and I'm getting out of here. We got to save for big purchases and big ideas. I'm not saying that it's bad to have nice things, because I have nice things. But it's about being financially responsible in how you acquire them. And this is what I was telling, my students at school. I was like, hey, listen, the BMW that you want, I want you to get it. Where do you want to live? I want to have a nice little high rise. I want you to get the high rise. Man, I've never lived in a 3-bedroom house before. Man, I want you to get the 3-bedroom house. One young lady lifted up her purse. It was a fake Louis Vuitton purse that she spent $20 for. And she said, one day I want to have a real one of these. I said, I want you to get it. I want you to get it. As a matter of fact, all of you all of us, we are going to get the things that we desire. But we have to have financial discipline, and we have to be financially responsible in how we get there. And we get there by setting a time frame. Want something nice? Cool, great. Give yourself 3 months, 6 months. Sometimes give yourself a year. Before I bought my Bentley, I gave myself literally 3 years. I'll never forget when I bought my Porsche Panamera. I started setting aside, because I paid cash for the Porsche Panamera, I started setting aside like a monthly payment to go towards me buying my Bentley. And I just saved up for three years because I know me. Right now, I'll be honest with you, now in this season of my life, because I got the Bentley, because I got the nice truck, man, I'm not saving any money towards another car. Like, I'm driving these cars for the next 5 years minimum. Like it was it right now, 2025. So they'll probably come out with new cars in 2030. So I may wait till about like 2031, 2032, and go from there. And I'm not guaranteeing that because I want to make sure that I stay true to my words, because life could change. But right now, like, I'm super content and I love what I have. So I'm not intentionally saving for a car right now, right? But back then I gave myself 3 years because I wanted to make sure that I didn't rush. And watch this, when I saved for the Bentley, when I got the cash for the Bentley, I knew my budget. I knew my budget. And when I walked inside, I didn't budge from the budget. I actually walked away with like $6,000 left over from what I saved. And so I was able to honestly to put that back into the car. I had it wrapped, the paint protection film put around the car to protect the film, right? So that way, when I do go to trade it in, the coloring is great. But if I would have spent all of that money, I wouldn't have gotten it. I would have saved for that for probably like another 6 months. And I want to live right here too. Watch this. This is good. This is a good show. I hope y'all getting something from this. Some of y'all are probably saying, well, if you're saving for it, it means you don't have it. No. Saving means I go inside of my budget and I strategically say, hey, I don't want to see a huge dip go out of my account. Even though I may have the funds today, I don't need it today. So instead of me dropping $5,000 this month, which for some people won't hurt, right? But let's bring it back down to your level. $100 may not completely hurt you today. But why not just add it to next month's budget, put it inside of the budget to where you don't even feel it at all because you've already planned for it? Or put it in the next, let's say it's January today, February, put it in March budget, save for it in January and February. So by the time you get to March, there's really no impact. You don't feel nothing at all. You don't say, it is so funny when I hear people say, man, I got to get back to work. I got to get to grinding, man. I just dropped $500 this month. To me, what I hear people saying is, I didn't budget for that. I didn't budget for the car. I didn't budget for the purse. I didn't budget for the nice things. Like, that's all that I'm saying, is that you can have $10,000 in your account today, and that item could be $1,000. Do you have to buy it today? Because now you can have $10,000 in your account today. If you spend $1,000, you're at $9,000 in your account today. But if you have $10,000 in your account today, watch this, see where I'm about to go? And you say, you know what, I'm gonna save for 3 months. Okay, cool, great. I'm gonna set aside, $350 every month? Now, so if you're having $10,000 in your account today, you still have $10,000, but out of that $10,000, you're allocating $350 out of that account to be saved for the next month. So now you get to next month, you got $10,000, but then now you got a little bit more. It's all about saving. And the key thing, what I really want y'all to focus on in 2025 is I want you to really focus on paying cash. I want you to avoid debt at all costs by saving up and paying for it in full. But one of the things here, it requires patience. Because one thing, I see some of my friends and some of my peers going out there and getting everything that they want, but they're financing it. But delayed gratification leads to financial freedom. And I'm not knocking anyone for how they do things. I'm here to teach what I believe, and if you rock with it, you rock with it. If you don't, cool, great, I respect it. But I'm going to tell you, man, it feels so good to know that when I do see my income drop, because as a business owner, I see it and I feel it when it's a low month. Our team members don't feel it because I got to pay them for their job, right? But for me, who doesn't get a guaranteed check every single month, oh yeah, I feel that dip. But it's like, oh, that's so good, God. I see the dip, but I don't necessarily feel the dip. Feeling it means I needed that money to pay bills and survive. Seeing it means, oh, I saw I didn't make that much money, but because I only got a mortgage payment and regular utility bills, I still make a good amount of money to pay those bills. So I don't feel it because I don't have car notes. I don't have credit card debt. I don't have private loans. I have real estate loans, but I don't have anything outside of that. Because I'm willing to delay my gratification so that when I do get the car, when I do get the nice things, I'm not looking at it like, oh my gosh. Like, whoa, I got to pay for you. Oh my God, I didn't make that much money this month. Oh, no. Which leads me to the last thing. I'm going to get up out of here. You got to pay off your debt sooner, y'all. Not later. But I need to get aggressive with paying off debt. You know, in class, I'm teaching young people who some of them have student loan debt. A lot of them have student loan debt. And I'm teaching them now, like, hey, when you get out of school, number one, make sure that you choose the right job in the right state. That's going to give you the most margin, because you're going to need that margin to eliminate this debt. When you eliminate this debt, it puts you in a position to have even more margin, right? And now you take that margin and now you save it. Now you invest it. Now you start doing some of the things that you desire, because debt is like a weight holding you back from financial freedom. Debt is like that weight that if you jump in the pool, you're trying to jump up and you feel some level of jumping up, but that weight brings you right back down. You see, when I hear people say debt, I got to use other people's money. Debt is not designed to get you to the top. It is designed to make you feel like you can get to the top, but secretly it is bringing you right back down. So the sooner we tackle it, the better our future will be. Don't delay it. I've talked about this so much. Don't push off debt until tomorrow. You don't know what the future holds. I wrote a book, and we're going to put this book inside of today's show notes. I want you to use the debt snowball method on how to get out of debt. I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it. Focus on paying off the smallest debt first, and then work your way up. This method builds momentum. No, it doesn't make math sense. But we're not in this problem because of math sense. Because if we were thinking about math, it doesn't make common sense to borrow $500,000 when you only make $75,000. So this method builds momentum, and it gives you the small wins, and it gets you excited about moving forward. So I want you to get the book. We're going to put it inside the comment section. It's 100% free, right? It's 50 pages long, and I'm walking you through on how to get rid of your debt now. Because here's the thing, I want you to free yourself. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to get, because it's the more money that you're stacking up. So aggressively paying off your debt frees up your income. And so I want to end today's show by going over to Luke chapter 16, verses 10. And I want to keep moving on here too. I'm reading it from my Bible. Y'all know me, man. I'm just, this is that year, y'all. Man, I need to get this Bible actually rebounded, because it's falling apart, and it's making me a little sad that my Bible is falling apart, but I got to get it. But Luke chapter 16, verse 10 says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. Verse 11, I want to keep going. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling, watch this, worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? Verse 12, and if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own? Whoever can be trusted with little, God will give you more. If you can't handle this wealth, why would God make you rich? If you can't handle the apartment, why would God give you your own house? Do you see the parallel here? Jim Rohn said this: discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. Discipline is the bridge between average income earners to wealthy income earners, apartment renters to homeowners. Is it Pinto? I think it's Pinto. Low-end cars to high-end cars. Discipline and making sure that we're getting the wisdom and or the knowledge is super, super, super important. Listen, these 5 lessons, these 5 things are just some of the lessons that have completely changed how I approach money. If you take anything away from today, let it be this. Money is a tool. It's not a trophy. We have to use it wisely to build margin, because that margin will serve us well. That margin will open up doors. That margin will finance our dreams. That margin will finance our future. But if we don't use it well, if we don't have margin, we're going to be living paycheck to paycheck and stress and struggling for the rest of our lives. Y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure to check out the show notes to get all of the free resources that I mentioned on today's show. And please don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We're going to hit 1 million by my birthday, July 1st. All right, let's continue to talk about wealth building, avoiding debt, and living the life that God has for us. And I'll see you on the next show. Peace out.